Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. This time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. We have tribute by the President of the Republic to the memory of the late Sultan Qaboos of Oman. Official launch of the first editions of the major school competitions 2019-2020. For the international scene, Tehran admits shooting down Ukrainian planes by mistakes. Welcome to our newsroom. Tribute by the President of the Republic to the memory of the late Sultan Qaboos of Oman. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, today Saturday paid tribute to the memory of the late Sultan Qaboos bin Said of Oman, who passed away last night. In his posthumous tribute, the Egyptian head of state described the late leaders as a charismatic and enlightened leaders who knew how to give his countries all the transformations indispensable for its stability and development. A model of political neutrality, he also succeeded in making his countries a high place of dialogue, mediations, and consensus for the preservation and strengthening of peace in the region and in the President Guelleh said, "May God Almighty welcome the late leaders in his eternal paradise." Wish the President of the Republic, who also expressed his sad condolence to the family of the late Sultan Qaboos, to the Omani government, and to all the citizens of this brotherly country. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. The government delegation led by Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed is continuing its close meetings with the population of the greater Balbala suburb, composed of several members of the government. The proximity meeting took place in the city hall of Balbala with the participation of representatives of the population districts of Balbala, including Salama Pika 12 and Pika 20. On his arrival, and his delegation received a warm welcome from the population of Balbala in the presence of the President of the municipality, Mr. Adan Ahmed Mohammed. The young folk group present a varied and multicultural show on the occasions of the second proximity meeting between the government, the representative of the population of Balbala neighborhoods, including Salama Pika 12 and Pika 20. The exchange made it possible to make a broad overview of the various social and economic problems encountered by the population of these districts. The President of the municipality of Balbala, the representative of Youth Women's Association, took the floor in turn to exchanges with the member of government on the difficulties encountered by the population in order to find an answer. The member of government, as well as Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, responded to the grievance raised by the community leaders, including the second proximity meetings of the government at City Hall. The Minister of National Education Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohammed Mahamoud, this morning officially launched the first sessions of the Great School Competition for the 2019 and 2020 season. The Secretary General, Mr. Mohammed Abdallah Mahyub, the Director of Education, Mr. Abdi Dirir Gire, the Inspector General, Ms. Muna Ismail Abdu, as well as Inspector and many school principals took part in these meetings to present the program of this first sessions of the Great School Competition. The Inspector of School Life, Mr. Amin Mohammed Hussein, made a broad presentation on the main tests as well as the calendars of the first sessions of the Great School Competition. He made towers of all the competitions and tests planned within the framework of the GCS, including in particular the Young Champion competition, but also the innovative pedagogical competitions for teachers this year. The Minister of Education, Mustafa Mohammed Mahamoud, intervened to explain the ins and outs of this great cycle organized each year. He took the opportunity to come back the current topics concerning safety and the end of school. This is an opportunity for the Minister to present these best wishes for this new year. So then he congratulated the School Life Inspector for having integrated a new innovative disciplines for teachers. Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahamoud paid tribute and praised the work of the organizing committee of the grand competitions. This was an opportunity for the various inspectors and heads of school to discuss the practical modalities and conditions of success of the major school competitions. They concluded by reaffirming the commitment of MENFAB to do everything possible to ensure the success of these new editions of the GCS. The closing of the workshop on participatory inventorying of with the community, technical assistance, nominations lists, and elaborations of safeguarding plans, cultural policy took place on the 9th January in Djibouti. It should be recalled that this program was launched by the Minister of Muslims, Affairs, Culture and Waqf, Momin Hassan Bari, on December 2019 at the People's Palace in the presence of the Minister of Education, Mustafa Mohammed Mahamoud, and President of UNESCO National Commissions of Djibouti. This mission is part of the capacity building policy set up by UNESCO with a view to enabling the state parties to the convention to have access at competent human resources in the field of the intangible cultural heritage. It is important to underline that the presence conventions of 2003 ratified by our countries in 2007 constitute for our countries an opportunity for the safeguarding of our oral tradition, our craft skills, and our knowledge of nature and the universe, and finally our social and ritual practices. The National Secretary of the UNESCO Commission, Muhammad Musa Yabe, has indicated that this is important to underline that the present conventions of 2002 ratified by our countries in 2007 constitute for our countries an opportunity for the safeguarding of our oral traditions and our craft skills and knowledge of nature, universe, finally our social and ritual practices. For his part, the Director of Culture, Duali Hassan Ahmed, has for his part indicated globalization is a direct threat to our cultural wealth and heritage, hence the urgent need to acquire the knowledge needed to safeguard them and to actively involve all Djiboutian communities, civil society and our researchers. The association called the Group of Women in Solidarity for Charity carried out on Friday, January 10th within the high schools of Dakhil an action of sensitization for the parents of Dakhil students on the activities of assistance, supervision and monitoring that their association intends to implement for the benefit of young students in the region of Dakhil. GFSP is an association based in the capital and whose mission is to campaign at the national level for the promotion and emancipation of Djiboutian women in rural areas through literacy and the promotions of agriculture and child protection. It is within this framework that the member of the association is led by the president of the association, Ms. Nasru Abbas Mohammed, the vice president, Ms. Fatouma Abdul Qadir, met the parents of students in the towns of Okar to explain the existence that their association is intended to provide the young students in the 5 regions of interior. This support the stressed concerns of on the one hand, financial assistance in the areas of tuition fees, tutoring, purchase of school supplies, transportation costs. On January 10 to 2020, a dump truck transporting illegal immigrants overturned on the runway near Aloli, precisely Hestaba, in the sub-prefectures of Yoboki. More detail with Dinusa.
January 10, 2020, a dump truck transporting illegal immigrants overturned on the runway near Aluli near Hesdaba in the sub-prefecture of Yubuki. As soon as the first information was received, the head doctor of the Dakhel region dispatched the ambulance and the nurses from Yubuki to the scene of the accident with the help of private vehicles, which demonstrated the sense of patriotism. One person died on the spot. About 30 wounded were evacuated first to the dispensary of Yubuki, and after the figures of Nurse Major Dr. Yubuki, the 19 seriously wounded were evicted again to the medical hospital of Dakhil, where the chef doctors and all the nurses were waiting for the alert for this purpose. Of the 19 wounded, 1 died on the way, and 6 were transferred to Djibouti, 2 to the Ali Sibeh Regional Hospital, and the rest were admitted for treatment at the Dakhil Hospital. According to initial information, the truck was transporting 53 illegal immigrants, and the accident resulted in 2 dead and about 30 injured.
The Artas region is in mourning. The funeral of the late Abdullahi Aden Ali, who died last Thursday, will take place on Sunday, 12 January, at his home in Sheikh Musab. Abdullahi Aden Ali was born in 1952, was a great figure in the struggle for independence. He was chairman of the cultural commissions of the LPIE annex of Arta. The late Abdullahi Aden, who was also songwriters, composers, such as has several songs in the audio library of the RTD and had composed several plays devoted mainly to the struggle for independence. The late Abdullahi Aden Ali, alias known, then militated for the RPP and then joined the UAD formations created by the late Ismail Geddi Hared, which he was a member of the executive committee. He will remain so until the end of his life. The late Abdullahi Aden Ali was a Jamagarato youth leader and was known for his kindness and outspokenness and dedication to the cause of the community. He left behind him a widow and 9 children. Upon learning of this painful loss, Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, the President of the National Assembly Mohammed Ali Mohammed, the Energy Minister Yunus Ali Geddi, the Minister of Budget Abdul Karim Aden Shah, the Minister of Communication Radwan Abdullahi Bahdon, Minister of Muslim Affairs Mumin Hassan Barre, the Minister of Interior Mumin Ahmed Sheikh, the Secretary General of the Prime Minister's Office Naguib Abdallah Kamil, the Prefect of Arta Muhammad Sheikho, and the President of the Regional Council Ilmi Bouha, Colonel Umar Bouha Goudade, the Deputy Prefect of the Arta regions, and the entire Jamagrato community expressed their deepest condolences to the family and relatives of the defendant Abdullahi Aden Ali, known as Rafin, who has left his marks on the political and social lives of Artas region. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. For the international scene, the Iranian army admits to shooting down Tehran's mistakenly spectacular flip-flop planes. Missile was indeed the cause of the crashes that claimed the lives of 176 people. Listen to the report.
The foreign minister had already expressed regret, apology, and condolences while stressing that Washington was no longer to this tragedy. A human error in times of crisis caused by American adventurism had led to a disaster, Mohammad Javid Zarif tweeted. He referred to the tension caused by the January 3 elimination of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani in a drone strike in Baghdad on the decision of President Donald Trump, before Iranian missiles were fired on bases housing U.S. soldiers in Iraq.
This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.